Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Ujjwal Whatifs and I am back with a new video. It's a part 11 of what if Ash started his Pokemon journey with Mew. I the Ujjwal Whatifs am the writer and editor of this series, and before we start let's give the answer to my last question of, on which part in this series did Ash's twin shiny Eevees hatched, and the answer is, part 6 of this series, and sadly no one answered. What are you doing guys? Show some fire now, let's begin. Previously, Ash captured another legendary Pokemon, Entei. Along with a remarkably powerful Sceptile, he claimed his 7th gym badge and bravely rescued a Mr. Mime from Team Rocket's clutches. Soon after, Ash shared a heartfelt reunion with his parents. Misty then departed for Cerulean City after receiving an urgent call from her sisters. Following a fierce and exhausting battle, Ash conquered his final gym against Giovanni and a mind-controlled Mewtwo. Ash saved Mewtwo, exposed Giovanni as the true leader of Team Rocket, and ensured that Giovanni and his grunts were finally put behind the bars. Now let's continue. Ash was relieved. He had finally conquered all 8 gyms and was ready to participate in the league. But to his disappointment, there were still 3 long months before it could begin. With a sigh, he pocketed his frustration and returned to Pallet Town. But before they returned, they took a round of trip to Cerulean City to pick up Misty, only to find her alone in the gym. Flashback: when Misty received the call from her sisters, she thought that something bad had happened at home because of the urgency in Daisy's voice. She rushed home only to find the gym and the house completely empty. The only thing waiting for her was a letter on the sofa. After reading it, she was livid. It contained just 2 sentences. "We're going on a trip, take care of the gym." A winking emoji was crudely drawn at the end. Feeling utterly cheated, Misty tore the letter apart and roared at the sky. "You all can go to hell, you duckheads." Her shoulders slumped as she let out a tired sigh, then turned and headed for the gym to open it herself. Flashback: and Ash and the others tried their best not to laugh, but Serena couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. The rest quickly followed suit. That was the last straw for Misty. Ticked off, she gave them a taste of her fist, knocking the laughter right out of them. Later, after learning that Misty wouldn't be able to join them for now, they said their goodbyes and left. Along the way, Brock decided to take a break as well, choosing to reunite with his family and stay home for a while. Understanding it, Ash and Serena said goodbye to their lover boy and continued on to Pallet Town. In Pallet Town, Ash enjoyed his time with his parents, while Serena and her mother, Grace, joined them as well. He rested there for a week, and when it ended, Ash made up his mind. He decided to go into seclusion and train all of his Pokemon for the league. And for that, he already had a place in mind: Mount Silver. Ash packed his things and prepared to leave. Serena wanted to come along with him, but Ash stopped her and told her that instead of following him to a desolate place, she should travel around and find her own dream while he was away. He then promised her that if she had discovered her dream by the time he returns, this time he will be the one to join in on her journey. Upon being rejected by Ash, Serena slumped in sadness, but when he promised to walk beside her later, she smiled and nodded. She packed her bag and decided to head to Hoenn to learn more about Pokemon contests she had heard of back in Kalos. She had been interested before but delayed it to travel with Ash. Now, she wanted to truly explore it and see if it was the path she wished to follow. In the end, Ash and Serena said their farewells to their parents and walked away down 2 separate paths for the time being. After leaving Pallet Town, Ash released his shiny Charizard and rode on his back. After some time, they crossed the Indigo Plateau, but just before reaching Mount Silver, the sky darkened and the weather turned icy. The harsh conditions made it difficult for Charizard to fly, so Ash told him to land. They were only few miles away from the mountain, so Ash returned Charizard. He then quickly covered Pikachu and Mew in his fat jacket he took out from his bag. Then he walked with heavy steps to the mountain. After the whole day of walking, Ash with Pikachu and Mew finally reached the peak. It was icy and desolate with snow covering the half of the area. Ash founded a cave for shelter and decided to make it as his base for the next 3 months, then started training with his Pokemons. He switched them time to time and trained them with everything he had. 3 months later, Ash was standing on the edge of the Mount Silver's cliff. On his shoulder was his princess and Pikachu, while his majestic shiny Charizard was standing beside him. Then Charizard bent, letting Ash sit on him, while Pikachu placed himself on Ash's lap and Mew on his shoulder. After Ash was settled, Charizard flapped his wing and shot to the sky, now unfazed by the icy weather that had troubled him before. Sometime later in the Indigo Plateau, Serena, Misty, Brock, Delia and Grace were waiting near the registration counter of the Indigo League for hours. They were waiting for our protagonist. Red was not here because as the current champion he had to do some official work before the tournament could begin. Suddenly then a shout jolted them all up, and when they all turned to the voice they saw a familiar boy with a Pikachu on his shoulder. It was Ash. Everyone upon suddenly seeing him looked at him with sudden surprise, and a silence fell. But then Serena broke the silence and rushed to him. She jumped and slammed herself to him, and after some time, when she came back to her senses and realized what she had done, she jolted up in embarrassment. Her face reddened. She quickly turned her face to not let others see her embarrassed look. Everyone laughed, which made her more embarrassed. Seeing that her mother decided to spare her daughter, she quickly stepped in and changed the subject. She told Ash to register for the league before the time runs out. Ash nodded and quickly rushed to register himself, and after a digital spin he was placed on Group D, and his first match was 16th on the list in the waterfield against a guy named Mandy. Ash after confirmed the time for his first match. He with others walked away and went to eat. Soon Red, after finishing his work, also joined them. They chatted for a while. Ash told them about his experience on the Mount Silver. Everyone were shocked to hear about the atmosphere of that mountain except Red, who had also went there before in his youth. Delia, upon hearing that, freaked out and, like all the mothers in the world, quickly took her son for a full body checkup. She only calmed down after seeing nothing wrong on Ash's medical report. Then after some more chatting they all went to rest in one of Delia's hotel in the Indigo Plateau after this tiring day. The next day in the afternoon Ash was called out for his match. Ash rushed to the waterfield. Against him stood a guy named Mandy. Mandy was wildly popular with the local crowd, drawing loud cheers, along with boos aimed squarely at our hero. Which as the writer I couldn't take it, so I dropped a thunder at all of them. Ha 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 ha, cough cough cough. Just kidding guys, even as the writer I can't break the wall, can I ha? Ash remained unmoved by the hostility, but then he saw his mom and friends started cheering for him. A serene smile appeared on his face. But on the other hand, seeing everyone cheering for him, it boosted Mandy's confidence. A smug grin spread across his face. He taunted Ash for being unloved by the audience, but it didn't do a dime to him, which irritated Mandy. But before he could continue, the referee cut in and instructed both trainers to prepare. Mandy swallow what insult he was going to throw at our boy, and with sneer at him nodded. Ash on the other hand gave a small nod of confirmation as well. Then the referee announced the rules. A 3-on-3 battle, and the victory will go to the trainer who will knock out all of their opponent's Pokemon. At the signal, Mandy sent out Exeggutor and immediately resumed his insults once again. Ash now getting irritated by his gloating, he calmly took out a Cherish Ball and released his Gyarados. The ferocious water type roared, shaking the entire stadium. Mandy's face drained of color upon seeing the majestic serpent, his earlier arrogance replaced by utter despair. Ash wasted no time. Gyarados made quick work of the match, one-shotting Exeggutor, Seadra, and Golbat in rapid succession. By the end, Mandy collapsed to the ground, his expression utterly defeated. The stadium fell completely silent while referee announced the result of Ash winning. On other hand, Ash recalled Gyarados and slowly walked away. Just as he walked to the door, a loud cheers again started to echo through the stadium, but this time it was for our boy Ash. Ash didn't show any outward reaction and disappeared through the door. A week later, Ash now stood in the grass field, facing his final opponent of the preliminary matches. A final victory against the girl named Jeanette Fisher before him was all he needed to qualify for the top 16. His last 2 matches after Mandy had gone the same way, swift and overwhelming. each one using only one Pokemon. In the rock field, he had relied on his fighting-type powerhouse Machamp, which had evolved during the brutal 3 months of training on Mount Silver. While in the ice field, he unleashed his female Charizard, whose fire blast shattered the entire arena. Now, the crowd was cheering loud, but this time it was for both of the trainers, and in them were his friends and mom were the loudest. Ash ignored them in embarrassment and reached for his Cherish Ball and released a Pokemon clad in violet, knight-like armor, the Cerulean, the evolved form of his Charcadet. Before, knowing Charcadet's growth would be slow without evolving him, Ash had prepared in advance. The day after the registration for the Indigo League, he asked Red to find both the malicious and auspicious armor, which he did. He spoiled his only son and delivered it to him right after his match against Mandy. Ash then gave Charcadet the choice. Charcadet felt a connection and without hesitation, he touched the malicious armor and evolved into Cerulean. Now in the present, Cerulean faced Jeanette's Pokémons. It was a swift and clean battle, and one by one he defeated her Beedrill and Scyther with a powerful Flare Blitz. Bellsprout was little agile but still couldn't compare to Cerulean's speed. It quickly got overwhelmed by him, and after getting hit by a direct Bitter Blade he lost consciousness. The referee quickly began the countdown, and after it ended he announced the result, declaring Ash the winner. That's all for today. Now it's a question time. What was the Pokeball Ash used for Mew in this series? First 5 to answer this correctly will get shoutout on my next video. But time to answer this question is limited to 2 days. If you enjoy this video, then please give a like and share it with your friends. Also subscribe this channel to get more amazing what ifs in the future. Alright then, see you guys on my next video. Goodbye, farewell and sayonara.